Right. Now, what I want to say to you is that those of us who don't know much about Indigenous food really just would not know where to begin. What is Indigenous food? Where do we find it? And you're going to talk us through that. So won't you start us off by telling us what we've got on this table? It looks beautiful.
Well, I'm doing a lot of talking and sort of educating of people because, as you say, most people really don't know. And I kind of divide it into two. The one are plants that are already commercially grown, but not for their food, but as garden plants. And so I start with those because those are kind of the easiest in. So, for example, this plant here, Carissa macrocarpa, which is also known as Natal Plum or Num Num, you find...
I love that name. Isn't it lovely? So this is what we're looking at here.
Yes, so those are, if you went into your average garden nursery, you would find them to buy as a plant to put in your garden. And you would even find them planted all over the city streets, for example. They're all over the waterfront, and the municipality has often planted them along the railway lines and so forth. They're very thorny, so they're useful as a security plant. And then they make this gorgeous fragrant white flower and these rather lovely berries that are edible.
Yes, so we have a flower here.
Yes, and it smells stronger at night, but even in the day, it's got a lovely fragrance.
Oh, nice.
And
who knew we could eat these?
Well, some kids do know, odd people do know, so sometimes, the other aspect that's interesting about South African foods is, of course, because they're not commercially grown, in order for me to produce the kinds of bottles that you see on the table here, I go foraging, because I can't go to the shop and buy them. So part of why I'm trying to put the word out is to try to encourage people in their own gardens, but possibly also farmers to start growing them, so that eventually I might be able to go into the supermarket and buy these berries so that I can use them in desserts or even just to eat fresh in chutneys and so forth.
So if I come across Natal plums, can I just pick one off the tree and eat it? What do I do with it?
Well, you would definitely wash it first.
Yes, okay.
And you would want to pick one which is ripe. You could eat it just like that. They do exude a kind of a milky latex. So when I go foraging, I put gloves on, because the first few times that I did it without gloves, I came back with very sticky, very black hands. And also when you slice them to cook them, they again exude that milky latex, which makes a sort of a sticky ring around your pot when you're working it. It comes off relatively easily, but they do make that sort of white stickiness.
Okay. Let's talk about the next.
But before I finish with them, what I do want to say about the Natal plum is that only the fruit is safe to eat. The rest of the plant is poisonous. So, for example, with some plants you can eat everything. You can eat the flowers, the leaves, and the fruit. In this instance, don't eat anything else, only eat the ripe fruit.